Well, I was going to have 4 days alcohol free, but I've decided to wimp out and actually go to Liquorland after 2 days without a drop of liquor. So it also gives me an opportunity to go for my daily walk. If I don't have a purpose to do that, I don't do it, and that's why when I was in Parramatta Park, you know, I used to go to Cairns Central for shopping, so you know, I was always out and about every second day. So that was good in a way. But here, because there's really no major retail outlet like that in walking distance, well, unless you're my neighbour. My neighbour would actually, she would be more than happy to walk that sort of distance to, say, the Coles, for instance, which I think I timed as about a 50-minute walk. So you're talking almost 2 hours round trip. So a bit much for me. I'm hanging out for the Woolworths to open in the last quarter of this year, and that would be probably a half-hour walk, and that's just acceptable. I think I could justify that going to a supermarket. Could also ride the e-bike. I'm not doing that today simply because well, it's 2 reasons. One is I need to walk for back health, and secondly, the weather's a bit indifferent. It has rained quite a bit today, so, and I'm taking the route down the side street because I don't want to have to confront crazy Trevor, although I'll probably get a lot of dogs here, and there's one that's just gone off now. Actually, there's one back there that normally barks a lot because no one ever walks down this road. It's very quiet. But I'm actually finding it easier to walk. Don't have any problems with the left foot now, so that's the good news. And so things could be worse, I guess. There's a place that was on the market, just sold. There's one where I live that's just gone on the market last weekend. There was all these cars parked out the front on Saturday, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And I'm thinking, is there some place being sold or something, or is there some party happening? No, it was actually an inspection, and I think I'd actually seen the place before. So there hasn't been much on the market at all for the last few months. It's just been bugger all. If you're looking for a place to live in an established house up here, very difficult. Apparently they're opening up a whole lot of lots down south, that's the growth corridor. But up here, there is a lot of a development happening behind Cook Highway, between Cook Highway and the sea, near Yorkeys Knob. Because I went to a restaurant with my neighbours on Sunday, and we passed through that area, and gee, there's a lot of development. Of course, they're much smaller lots. They're usually about 400 metres square metres, blocks, something like that. About half what I've got, but they are newer houses, so they go for a reasonable amount. And mine's 30 years old, so it's a bit long in the tooth and certainly needs work. Needs a bit of TLC. Okay, well, I've avoided Mad Trevor going down the quiet side street so far. He's over in that direction where the bus stop is. And so, as much as I enjoyed the cathartic experience of paying out on him, I don't want to do it again. I'd rather not have that that confrontation taking place. Although that was early morning, and maybe that's when it's the danger period. coming in contact with him. He's probably on his ham radio at the moment. God knows what, I don't want to know. Ah dear. Anyway, almost the halfway point, well not quite. It's about a 20-minute walk. I think I actually timed it exactly at about 19 minutes. I'm hoping that I'll have the clean skin gin. I've got to admit the green all gin I think is a nicer flavour, but that's gone back to normal price now, so it's about $5 or $6 more than what it was last week when it was on special at Murphy's. So, and even then it was more than the clean skin. $36 is a very good price. So if I can't pick it up, I'll just get myself a bottle or two of cheap red wine. I actually need to get to Woolworths this week. I haven't got on the bus for a while, and I've run out of my sliced cheese. I won't buy the Coles one. It doesn't last as long. Well, I've got myself a bottle of the clean skin gin. Not easy to acquire. I probably should have bought 2 bottles, but I don't want to feed my habit of drinking too much. Got myself about a bottle of red. $42 all up. Pretty good value for a couple of bottles of grog. Not bad at all. And it does look a bit threatening back there. You can see all those grey clouds, but they look flat, so I'm hoping I won't have to confront the rain. We'll see. A lot of traffic in Cottesloe at the moment. People coming home and also from school. That bus, I was behind a bus, and they just parked at it wasn't actually like the normal bus, it was a school bus. And they parked at the stop for the kinetic bus stop, and they just stopped. They didn't let anybody off, they didn't let anybody on. I don't know, just maybe worried about being ahead of schedule, but I had to walk all around the damn thing. And of course there was foliage on the side where the bus stop was. So. But yeah, a bit strange. I don't know why I stopped there for about 2 minutes. Anyway, I'm on the homeward leg. It's good, always enjoy the walk back. Like I say, good for back health. So, doing the right thing. And I'm going a bit stir crazy around the house, because I mean I should be in Vietnam, and so it's a bit galling being stuck back in Oz. Now my back's feeling perfectly fine. I feel good, but I wasn't feeling so good on Good Friday when I had to leave. So. And I haven't got back to Jetstar trying to see if I get any money back. I don't like my chances. The only good thing about Vietnam is that in September they may have changed the visa policy. And they may finally be giving 3-month e-visas. So if I do that, I might make it a long trip to make up for this fiasco. So we'll see, and I think also if I do go Vietjet, although they are a cheap airline again, but if I do go with them, they will be having flights from Brisbane, so that's the good news. That was bad bike etiquette. They should have rung the bell or something, but kids. Maybe they've been to Trevor's etiquette school. So we've got 10 minutes of possibly dodging the rain. We'll see. Saw another kid riding the bike down on this path as well. Obviously the school kids don't bother with the road, although I saw a kid on a pretty crappy looking bike riding against the headwind before down the road. Pretty tough ride. I know, I've tried it. Friday, and again the paying homage to Happy Hour at the beach house. Quite a nice day actually. Had quite the downpour on this Monday. I'm just heading off to Liquorland. I need something to fortify my my demeanour because Richmond's playing Melbourne tonight, and I'm contemplating a drubbing, so that could be pretty ugly. So actually, I haven't actually done a video since I headed off to the Happy Hour on Friday, and it was interesting when I got back because I was a bit under the weather with the booze I'd taken in. We do have a few rounds when I go to the Happy Hour, and when I got back, a woman sort of walked up to me in the dark, because it was quite dark by then, because we walked back at 6 o'clock, so it would have been 6:30, 6:45, and it was quite dark, and it was just outside my own house, and this woman sort of walked up to me in the middle of the street, and she was very concerned about the dog across the road yapping. There was actually two dogs yapping, and she thought that someone might have abandoned them or something, because she had a bowl of water with her. And, well, from what I could see anyway, it was difficult, it was in the dark. Boy, talk about dogs, they're everywhere here. So that was rather strange. So she was obviously very concerned, and the dog had been barking excessively for a couple of days, and it usually drives me nuts, just because those yappy dogs they're so easily set off. God, well, it's ridiculous today here. This is it's not normally this bad with the local canines, but God, maybe it's the rain that's setting them off, because it has been incredibly wet today. So I apologise about the background noise. I'm taking my big umbrella because I'm a bit concerned that I might get hit with a bit of a downpour. Wasn't going to risk taking the e-bike out in this weather. So anyway, so that was a bit of drama. And it actually, I sent a message off to Steve about it, because he's a dog owner and sort of understands these things, and he sort of gave me some advice the next day. But after I'd messaged him, the dog just went quiet. It was just silence. So I don't know what's happened there. Maybe there was a domestic, someone walked out or something. Maybe someone just left the dog by mistake. I don't know what happened, but it appeared as if the dogs hadn't been attended to for a while, so for whatever reason. But it's all speculation. I've got no idea. I don't really want to get involved in our neighbours' lives, and so yeah, just a bit of drama there. And so I've had a very lazy weekend. Didn't go out at all on Saturday or Sunday. They did have a follow-up to the explosion of the Starship heavy booster. Well, both of them actually, Starship and the heavy booster, both well, they were detonated because they lost control. Apparently, quite a number of the engines, at least 3, maybe 5 or more engines had cut out, and it meant they didn't have control over the direction of the rocket. So that's obviously not a good thing. And for safety reasons, they have a detonation device to blow it up, so people in the vicinity don't get pounded with some gigantic bloody rocket, the remains of some gigantic rocket falling down on them, which I think is fair enough. But it's an interesting thing to reflect on how the press reacts to this. And you know, my opinion of most journalists is not exactly high. It couldn't be much lower, actually. And a lot of them, out of pure ignorance, they regarded the whole thing as a disaster. Well, it wasn't. It's a test, and the employees at SpaceX were cheering and very happy because the rocket actually got off the ground and went vertical until the separation time, about 3 minutes or so into the actual flight. It failed to separate the Starship from the actual heavy booster. Heavy booster was meant to sort of do a spin and return into the off the coast of Florida. That was the idea, but it didn't even disconnect from the other craft. So they basically that's where it all went pear-shaped basically, and they had to destroy the whole thing. But the point of the exercise is to collect data so that next time they'll go further down the route and presumably have a successful separation. It's the most powerful rocket ever conceived, so you know there's bound to be a few issues. Certainly there was an issue with the launch pad. That was basically turned into rubble to some extent because Elon Musk hadn't had time to put in a metal plate under the actual where the launch took place. He's just had concrete and was hoping it would be strong enough to sustain the thrust, but it wasn't. So there's a bit of damage around the area to the farm for the CO2 and all that stuff has all sort of been affected to the tanks. A few of them got a bit of damage, but it's not terrible. It's just he thinks they'll be able to fly again in a month or two's time. So, for any luck, I'd say 2 months we might see another flight. I mean, I hope they do, because the sooner they do that, the better it'll be for getting this thing to become a reliable launch vehicle. SpaceX isn't afraid of blowing things up, and if you look at all the old footage of rockets in the past, there's plenty of them that a lot of them just blew up on the actual pad, and that's what they were worried would happen. That would be the worst outcome for this particular flight, would be if it had obliterated itself on the actual pad and destroyed all the infrastructure, and that didn't happen. So they got a lot of data about the flight, and they will tweak everything, and I have utmost faith that they'll progress quite well, because they know how to build rockets. They've built the most sophisticated rocket in the world that can actually land in the middle of an ocean on a floating barge. I mean, that is just incredible. So we're talking the cutting edge technology. I think they'll be fine, and I imagine that next time we'll see that the Starship will actually have a chance to go into space and do a re-entry and test the heat shield. That's the other thing that they want to do. It's a shame that didn't occur. But the next Starship is a new design anyway, so this was really, that's all it was doing, was basically checking the heat shields, because there's been a lot of improvements made to the current Starship that sits atop the heavy booster. So, like I said, that's why the employees were cheering. They know what it meant. For them, it was a success. It's just a stepping stone to making a incredibly low-cost, renewable rocket available to humanity, and it will just be a total game changer. It will be like having a jet that you use, thousands of times for going into space. It's going to be huge, and it's going to be even better when NASA's working on an atomic engine to take the craft from out in space, from say the moon to Mars or wherever, and it's going to incredibly reduce the time required from say 8 months down to less than a month, or a little more, no, a month and a half. About 8 months to about a month and a half is one of the estimates. That's how much of an improvement is on a chemical rocket. So it just spews out hydrogen at incredible velocity, and it's able to perform much better in space than the current technology. So, and they're just designing it so it'll be materials that are you're unable to make a bomb out of. So that's one of the changes that they're trying to put in, to just make it so proliferation won't be an issue. It'll be basically for civilian use only, and I guess that's a good thing, given it. So the loonies that currently have access to nuclear weapons in this world, I think we want to keep it as restricted as possible. Anyway, I'm probably running out of juice here. I've only had about 50% on my battery, and hasn't rained yet, just a little bit of spitting, so it's not bad. I'm finding the walks easy. I've got to say, well, the other thing is, yes, the weather might be inconvenienced with the wetness, but gee, it's so much cooler. It's a pleasure to get out of the house and have a walk, not sweating like I have done over summer. So it's a nice change. So for the last week I haven't had to use aircon going to sleep. Not that I slept well at all last night. Took a sleeping pill, had no effect. Very strange. So hopefully tonight I'll get a better night's sleep. Well, the clean skin gin is so precious that now Liquorland are hiding it from the customers. There's a whole lot of boxes in front of that part of the gin section. Not that there's exactly much of a section, because it's a very small Liquorland, but yeah, I was really worried because I looked there and I couldn't see it, of course, and there were about 3 bottles behind the actual boxes right down the end, so they don't have that much stock. So enjoy it while it lasts. Makes you appreciate every drop. Like I said, I'll go back to the green all if Murphy's reduced the price of that gin, but there's no guarantee there. They don't seem to be as cheap as they used to be. So the golden years were when Dan Murphy himself actually ran the place in Prahran in Melbourne. But well, boy, what are we looking at there? 40 years ago, when I was going to uni. Those are the good old days of Dan Murphy. That was back in the 70s. Wow, time flies. Yeah, the other thing I was surprised that I finally cracked the 800 mark with subscribers about a week or so ago, which it looked as though I was going to sit on 799. Probably wouldn't surprise me if YouTube were doing that just to taunt me, somehow manipulating the algorithm. But yeah, I've got over the 800 mark, which I suppose is nice. It's quality rather than quantity for me, because it's only a small channel, and I'm not trying to appeal to a mass market, and just being who I am, and just doing on the easy way by just walking and talking and not have to put any great effort into it. The editing's not difficult. I've been doing it for so long, it's pretty easy. So, and but as I say, it's had the unexpected bonus socially. I never expected that, to meet people through the actual channel. You know, people are friends now, which is amazing. But you know, the power of modern technology, I guess. So much more effective, in my opinion, than say one of those online social groups like meet-up groups. The over 30s one, the Northern Beaches over 30 group is still going, but they seem to have wound back their activities, and it may be just that they don't have as many people doing the work, and that's understandable. It can be pretty thankless, and that's a fairly well-run group. I didn't have any issues with people running the group. It's just sometimes it was difficult with the people who showed up. I mean, it wasn't a major issue, but just when you're with a big group of people you don't know, it can be, you can't relax the same way as you can with friends, I feel. Everyone's different. Some people don't give a stuff. You can throw them in anywhere and they'll be the life of the party. So different personality types, I guess. Whew. Well, I better not yak too long, I'll run out of batteries. I've only been stalked by one plover so far, or plover bird on this walk. And hopefully I won't have to go through the gauntlet of dogs like I did coming up here, but I will be going down the same road, so I suppose I can't avoid it. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever, and either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.